Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Morning JOX, the final edition of the week. As Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell will be here with you for the next hour, getting you set for your weekend and I guess we could say technically the final, really kind of feels like the final weekend of the college football season, right? Because on Monday, we'll have the national championship game between Indiana and Miami. The transfer portal officially closes tonight at midnight, so you have that on top of, things will continue to roll out over the weekend as paperwork gets filed and things like that become public information. And of course, players can still come out of the transfer portal, so a lot to go with there. But kind of the final weekend of the college football season before we officially, it feels like, move on to 2026. And a lot of these rosters are maybe not finalized, but we have a general idea of what we're looking at, and we'll crown a champion on Monday, and then we will move on with our lives, Damien, and we will count down the days until the 2026 college football season. So
Yeah,
it's
if you're as dialed in as we are, we're getting ready for spring ball. This is basically just finalizing everything to make sure that we got enough bodies for the spring. And no, it's kind of bittersweet. It's kind of the first Friday. We ain't got nothing going on Saturday. I mean, we got NFL, but as far as just like the college football ranks, it's kind of like, man, it's here. When you reflect on what the season that 2025 was, it all comes down to Indiana and Miami.
Yeah, I definitely don't think going into the season you would have had a ton of people predicting that matchup for the national championship, but that's for all the negative things that we like to talk about or that people bring up about college football, I think you could argue that's one of the good parts about it. Now, granted, obviously, if you're not a fan of one of those two teams, you're probably a little heartbroken. But at the end of the day, the fact that it can be that, kind of big of a surprise or that random feeling almost in terms of who makes it to the national championship, that's I'd say that's a sign of a pretty competitive sport there. So we'll get you ready for the weekend, though. Of course, on Monday, we'll kind of go all in on the national championship game and break that game down from every angle, make our final picks and all of that good stuff. But I did mention it, the transfer portal will close tonight at midnight. So this is the final day. And if you're paying attention last night, there are a couple names that, you go, oh, okay, that's probably someone that's going to command a good bit of money. That's kind of, again, it just feels as if the hours, the final hours go by, people start to really, feel that pressure of, hey, there's not a spring portal anymore, right? And I think there's a little bit of that too, where people are having to maybe be reminded or remind themselves of, yeah, this is your opportunity, right? And hey, look, I can always come back out, right? Like if I go in the portal, I could always probably return to where I am. So maybe it's, better to kick that. Maybe not some places.
And not some places.
I think a lot of places, and depending on, let's be honest, how valuable you are, how much leverage you have there. But I think you got a lot of that going on, and I think today you might potentially see a couple more names that you go, oh, wow, okay, I didn't, I thought if that person in the portal, they would have done it, a week ago, right? But some people are going to make those decisions as it comes along. But let's get you up to date on what's going on with both Alabama and Auburn as we enter, I guess, technically the final day for people to get their name into the transfer portal. And Auburn certainly not wasting any time. Auburn had a spectacular day yesterday as far as the transfer portal is concerned. So you like the trenches. The trenches are important in the SEC. Auburn heard you, and that is exactly what they addressed yesterday. So somebody that Damien's very familiar with, I think this was Damien's favorite player this year, but former Ole Miss offensive lineman TJ Hedrick, he commits to Auburn yesterday. And was he a key cog in y'all's semifinal run this year?
I think it was more the quarterback than it was. No offense to the offensive lineman, but we could have just put 5 traffic cones out there for as much as Trinidad Chambliss was running around the field. But hey, they did their job in the run game. But is he going to be missed? Nah.
Okay,
it's the Pete Golden era. He's the last remnants of the old regime.
Gotcha. I got you. So Auburn fans, don't get excited about this kid because Damien just said, don't really worry about it. We don't want him. Y'all, good riddance. Get rid of him. But all kidding aside, TJ Hedrick, he does commit to the Auburn Tigers. He has 4 years of eligibility left, so he redshirted this year, actually. So But again, another guy that you develop at Auburn. Maybe not a guy that comes in and starts next year, but you're hoping a guy that you could get a couple of good years in after a little bit more development there. And then on the excuse me, as well as on the offensive line, you got Oregon State left tackle Jacob Strand. He had some injury issues last year, but he did make 6 starts for the Beavers at left tackle. So again, a guy that's got starting experience at the Power 5 level, Power 4 level. And again, you can never have too much depth there at that part for Auburn. So another nice pickup there on the offensive line. Now, if we look on the other side of the trench, right, the defensive line, Auburn got a really nice pickup yesterday in former LSU defensive lineman Walter Mathis Jr. He played in 12 games this year for LSU, had 9 total tackles in those appearances. But again, another guy that I'm I I hate making the comparison because the reality of it is like this guy is a very special talent, and I don't think it's fair to put this on other guys, but you look at what again, I just go and look at Xavier Atkins that came over from LSU last year for Auburn and somebody that just really maybe hadn't put it all together, or hadn't had the opportunity or the role to go and star the way that he did. And you saw what DJ Durkin was able to do to him, turned him into one of the best defensive players in the entire country. Not saying that that's guaranteed to happen again with this guy, but you just maybe start to look at that's what Auburn is identifying as, okay, this is what we've been able to develop in the past. So let's go find guys that fit that mold and see if we can have that same level of success. So
Yeah.
maybe their box stats don't jump off the page to you, but you look at the potential and what
There's
could
a
be
lot of
there.
upside.
Absolutely.
And if you're going to be coached by on the defensive side and somebody that has a proven track record, especially from last season, DJ Durkin is the guy. I mean, like you said, Xavier Atkins is the best example because of the fact that he blossomed. Like there were question marks kind of going into the season, but every time that you would hear during fall camp, Xavier Atkins starting to get there, and then you see it put together on Saturdays, it's okay. Like this is where we could potentially be.
Mhm.
And sometimes guys just need to change the scenery.
Yeah.
It happens.
Absolutely. It absolutely does. So we'll see if they can kind of strike gold again. And worth mentioning they did come from the same play. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's some correlation there.
There is a reason for optimism, to say the least. But certainly a talented kid with a lot of potential, and Auburn trying to make the most of that there. I can also tell you that another offensive lineman from Maryland. He's a guard. His name Alu Ba. I'm sorry if I'm probably mispronouncing that.
That's how I would have said it.
That's my best guess there. But Auburn is expected to be hosting him for a visit here in the coming days as well. So potentially another addition to that offensive line there for the Auburn Tigers. And the final note for Auburn on the other side of things, though, is you did have another player actually go in the portal last night, and that it would be safety Jacoby Matthews. So he was a late entry late last night for the Auburn Tigers. And so that kind of keeps you up to date on what's going on the Plains. As of right now, Auburn is 14th in the transfer portal rankings, according to 247. So they bumped up a spot from where they were yesterday. 27 total commits now for Auburn in this class. And clearly feels like they're, kind of putting a bow on these things. I know they had, I believe, 37 kids on the way out. Now they're bringing in 27. So we'll see where they kind of maybe try to fill out those final few holes, but certainly a nice haul for Alex Golish here in his first offseason there with the Auburn Tigers. Now looking at Alabama quickly, not as much on the, I guess, in terms of they didn't have the day that Auburn did in terms of getting guys out of the portal, but it looks like this weekend is going to be pretty jam-packed for Alabama in terms of having a lot of kids on campus taking visits, again, as Alabama hopes to finalize their class or get closer to that. But probably the best news you got yesterday is that A.K. Deer announced he's going to return for the 2026 season. So not a huge surprise there, but you just wonder now with Hollywood Smothers doing what he did and going to Texas, is this a situation where is there another guy out there that Alabama thinks is worth bringing in and making a part of that rotation? Or do you bring in, Crowell as a freshman and go, all right, well, we're going to bank on A.K. Deer being a guy that continues to develop this offseason. We're going to count on Daniel Hill continuing to develop, Kevin Riley, and you just kind of roll with the guys you have and hope you're able to take a step forward. I don't know. But certainly good to know that AK Deer is coming back because very explosive player that's just got to, figure out some of the other parts of the position, get a little better in pass pro, get a little stronger maybe.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah.
He's young. There's a lot of room to develop.
Absolutely.
But also that's a deep room. That is a deep running back room.
It is. It's also a room that was pretty bad this year.
It
so
was.
better days ahead, hopefully.
Hope so.
Fingers crossed there. But in terms of getting back to Alabama and a potentially busy weekend for them, so some of the names worth keeping an eye on. So you got a pair of defenders from Oregon who are expected to be in Tuscaloosa today making a visit. So linebacker Blake Purchase and defensive lineman Terrence Green. So Blake Purchase, he had 32 tackles, a couple of sacks, and 1 interception this year for Oregon. Got a lot of playing time there with the Ducks. And then Terrence Green, he had 15 tackles this year on the defensive line there for Oregon. So 2 certainly guys that you would expect to come in and have an immediate role on the defense. They're expected in Tuscaloosa today. We'll see if they can get a deal done with either of those guys. I was told that yesterday, Nick Brooks, an offensive lineman from Texas, he was on campus taking a visit. You also have another offensive lineman today in Ethan Fields from Ole Miss, who's expecting to be making a visit. So, again, you can see, just like we talked about with Auburn, right, the trenches, that seems to be a point of emphasis here with the guys coming in. And then on top of that, just for a little flair of the skill positions, you have a Yale wide receiver, so smart guy.
Absolutely.
Nico Brown, he's going to be visiting the Crimson Tide this weekend. He had 71 catches for about 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns in 10 games this past season. He actually had the average the most receiving yards per game in FCS this year. So
let's go. Big play.
Mm-hmm.
I bet he's elite with his route running.
I bet he is. And I would also, again, I went to school here, so I can say this. I'm not taking shots. But, I just imagine you're, 20 years old, and you're going to Yale. And then you get a phone call saying, hey, we're going to pay you, $100,000 to come to Alabama. Not only how your social life is probably going to change in an interesting way, but I'm sorry, you can't tell me that the school is not probably dramatically easier and this is what y'all do every day? Yeah, online classes, what? You mean y'all get together and you just kind of take the test together and ask each other questions and okay. I have to imagine that'd probably be a pretty dramatic change in a 19, 20-year-old kid's life.
It's a culture shock everywhere. It's like, wait a minute.
I got some money in the bank.
Yep.
I don't have to study for 10 hours a day. This is
like,
pretty fun.
What am I going to do with all this free time? What do y'all do now?
I was about to say, he actually might turn out to be an insane football player because he'll have so much time to spend at the facility because he's like, man, I got done with all my work in an hour. This is great. I'm not used to this. But all kidding aside, certainly a guy that they would like to bring in from a depth perspective for the wide receiver room. And so we will see what happens there. The final note for Alabama, you did have a couple of former players that committed elsewhere yesterday. So congratulations to Ohio State as they continue to bolster their defense with former Alabama players because Cam Calhoun goes and joins the secondary there for the Buckeyes. And Jordan Renaud, who entered the portal earlier this week there on the defensive line, he is, I guess Mama called, but Mama in this situation is Pete Golding.
Yep.
Who I'm assuming, just off the top of my head, based on the timeline, I'm assuming would have had a hand in recruiting him to Alabama, maybe at the very end of his, maybe his last year.
Probably saw his name on the board.
Something like that. But yeah, so Jordan Renaud, he goes to Pete Golding and Ole Miss, somebody obviously very familiar with the Alabama defense. And so that is your transfer portal update for Alabama and Auburn. Alabama, they are 34th in the portal rankings. Auburn, 14th as it stands right now. And the portal will close tonight at midnight, and we will put a bow on that and get ready for the 2026 season. Can't wait for it. Should be a lot of fun. But with the transfer portal coming to a close today, or at least players being able to get into it, let's take a look at who could be some of the surprises. And I want to talk about one SEC team in particular, because I'm going to be honest. There's one team, maybe not in 2026, but they are viewed as one of the bottom feeders of the conference, and I think we could be talking about them a lot differently in a short period of time. I'll tell you who it is. We'll dive into that next here on Morning Jocks. Well, welcome back into Morning Jocks here on your frigid Friday morning. Man, it is the coldest it's been all week, and it's been cold this week. So that's maybe not how we wanted to start our Friday morning, but it's all right. We bundled up, we got here, and we hope you do the same. And we appreciate you joining us here each and every morning on the show. The good news is, at least based on what I saw last night, about a week from now, it will be in the 60s and it'll not feel like January. But for now, it is cold, and we hope you stay warm out there. And again, appreciate you being with us here on your Friday morning. So we were talking about the transfer portal, what's going on with Alabama and Auburn. Auburn, really nice day yesterday, picking up a couple of offensive linemen, a defensive lineman from LSU as well. So they continue to stay chugging along in the transfer portal. Alabama expecting to have a big weekend this weekend with a bunch of visits and some high-profile guys that they hope to bring into the program. But we did have some news outside of Alabama and Auburn yesterday, just to get to real quick. The bigger news from the transfer portal. So the biggest name, I would say, last night that went into it that was kind of like one of those, ooh, okay, let's see where you go, big fella. And it is a big fella because it is Damien's second favorite player behind that offensive lineman that Auburn just got. But that is Ole Miss edge rusher Prince Will Uman-Mielen. He announced that he's going to enter the transfer portal last night. Just an absolute, I mean, just a wrecking ball for Ole Miss this past season. He was absolutely incredible. So he immediately will become one of the highest rated players, certainly defensive players, and probably overall in the transfer portal. But that's definitely a guy that's going to command seven figures. And I would think would have a number of suitors here in the Southeastern Conference that are willing to pay top dollar for a guy of his talent. So that was kind of the one that maybe caught my attention a little bit last night. Damien, was that a surprise for you and the Ole Miss faithful?
Yeah, it was. Just because he's been with Pete, he's got a defensive head coach now. It just kind of seems as though that side of the ball would kind of take care of itself. But he's a name. Like it's one of those that that one and TJ Daugherty are two of okay. Now this is it. It's one thing to separate the business of college football, but now it's all right. Yeah, Pete's gonna have to reel this thing in, man. It's unfortunate, but it's just the nature of the game. There's only one school I hope he doesn't go to, but other than that, listen. I understand, man. Go get your bread, dog, because I know this is a money move. It has to be a money move because it ain't playing time. It's not style of play because your impact is definitely felt when you're on the football field.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just chasing that bag, and I guess congratulations, brother. If they're willing to pay you, hey, go get it.
Well, what do they say? Two's a party and three's a crowd?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. I just made that up, kind of. But that's because Ole Miss, they actually have a third player in the portal as well, because another edge rusher in Deshaun Womack, he also entered the transfer portal last night. So that's some guys there that, and I know I've seen some people that cover the Auburn Tigers, mentioning that Womack might be. God, we can't be having another guy Womack. I can't be having that same last name, but with two different pronunciations. But I've seen Auburn. Maybe that would be a guy they would be interested in and one would want to bring in for a visit. But Deshaun Womack, he also enters the portal from Ole Miss. He's been there for 3 seasons. He started his time at LSU, actually. He was a 5-star recruit a couple years back, but 50 tackles, 4.5 sacks in 3 seasons there of college football. So another guy that you would expect he'll get an opportunity somewhere else to go and make an impact, and somebody that's been around the block just, maybe needs a little bit of a change of scenery. Another guy that's coming back, though, not going into the portal. This was mine and Damien's favorite player in the offseason. And unfortunately, I feel like we kind of led some people astray because we were at the front of the bandwagon on this one. We were driving.
We were.
We were driving the wagon. And unfortunately, thanks to an Auburn defender breaking somebody's thumb, the bandwagon fell off the rails pretty spectacularly this year. But that's John Mateer. He announces that he will be back at Oklahoma next year. So led the Sooners to the college football playoff, obviously. And again, go back. I mean, he got hurt in that Auburn game. And after that, he was never really the same player. And I think maybe there's a little bit of, playing in the SEC was a little more difficult maybe at times. And the offense for Oklahoma was just a bit rough this year. But good to see that he's coming back for another year, and we'll see if he can. Maybe this is the year that we see him.
Right.
Maybe he's just got a little Arch Manning in him, right? Like this is the year we really should have been waiting for. And
Yeah.
last year was just the warm up.
Yeah, trust me, I'm not jumping off the bandwagon. I still think when you watch him, then the talent that he is, he's even amongst some of the insane decision making that he has, the talent is there. Now, I'm interested to see what Oklahoma does to kind of protect him a little bit more, because I do think that he had to run the ball just a little tad much than, for your quarterback's liking.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as raw ability, he's got it. Now it's more of, okay, now I'm in another year in the system. It was my first year in the SEC. Could he make that ascension in 2026?
Mm-hmm.
I do believe so. But I think if you're an Oklahoma fan, you feel confident that, hey, okay, we got us a guy. It's almost like Jameis Winston in the NFL. He's balling. He just got to stop throwing it to the other team.
That generally helps. Yes, easier said than done. That is generally a great strategy for the game of football, not to throw the ball to the other team. But as you said, Damien, easier said than done for some people. But I did mention that I think there's one team maybe in the SEC that I wanted to mention. And again, I'm not saying that we're going to look up a year from now and go, man, that team really surprised me this year. Wow, I can't believe that team made the college football playoff. But if you were to have to pick maybe one of the teams that's had not a lot of success in recent history in the SEC, that they're certainly making an effort to turn things around, and that's Kentucky. And I just, you keep seeing these guys that, that'll come out of the portal and end up at Kentucky. And I was looking at just some of the different SEC classes yesterday, and you're going through and you're like, they got some dudes, and they very clearly said, all right, Will Stein, this is a new era. We're going to give you what you need, right? Like we see the Indianas of the world. We think we can be that, right? Like we think that if they can do it, why can't we? And they're clearly investing big time into resources for that program and into NIL and into bringing some high-level kids to Lexington for Will Stein. And, you got Kenny Minchie, the quarterback. He's coming over from Notre Dame. He was going to Nebraska, and then Kentucky ultimately able to flip him there from the Cornhuskers. So that's nice. But, just look at this. You got an offensive tackle from Tennessee. You've got a guard from Baylor coming in there on the offensive line. You've got another offensive lineman from Ohio State coming in. You've got a linebacker from Texas. You've got a running back from Texas.
Got C.J. Baxter.
Yeah, you've got a safety from Florida. Like you go and you look at this, and again, we'll have to wait and see. The proof's in the pudding. Like these guys got to go out on the field and put it all together. But you just start to look at Kentucky and say, okay, they might have some dudes and are starting to put together the kind of roster that they just haven't really had in a while. On top of the fact that I think, having a new coaching staff does give you some optimism that things could actually be better. And make no doubt about it. Like quarterback has been a massive problem for them for a long time. And if you're able to solve that's going to make a big difference just in and of itself. Right. But you just go and look at what they're doing. Like they're putting their money where their mouth is. Mm-hmm. And I think Kentucky, if they are like, all right, this is going to be a 2 or 3 year process. We're not expecting to be in the playoff in a year, but a 2 or 3 year process of steadily investing into the program. Let's see what Will Stein can do. Like we might, I don't know, Damien, like we might be talking about Kentucky a little bit in a couple years.
Listen, man, I'm right there with you. I think that for Kentucky, you've loosened up some money since you got rid of Mark Stoops. Like you're not paying Will Stein as much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you look at the landscape of where the SEC is, Kentucky hasn't been void of talent. Like, they can get guys there. It's just, like, you remember a couple years ago when they had Dane Key, they had Barry and Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they don't have a problem getting talent. It's just making it all gel.
They don't know what to do with it, it feels
right.
like.
It's like, oh, man, we got some of the fastest receivers in not just the SEC, in college football, but we ain't got a quarterback that can give to them. Mm-hmm. So they have the pieces in certain spots. And I think now, and again, I have never been a big Mark Stoops guy. I understand it. Like, he's done more in the time that he was there than a lot of other Kentucky coaches in years past. But I do think now with the changing of the game, and now you're having Will Stein, like he probably goes in and says, hey, I need some dudes. Everything else, we can figure it all out. We'll
Yeah.
take it game by game. But one thing I know we're going to need is some dudes. And I need some guys that have played football, either whether it's here, whether it's been other places, but guys that have been on the football field. And we can start to find some things out, and we'll see where we go from there. But some of the names that they've gotten out of the portal, yeah, I think if you're a Kentucky fan, you got to feel a little optimistic. And again, expectations aren't, yeah, we're competing for SEC titles as soon as he gets here, but we're not going to be the doormat. Like people that play us this year, they're going to have to make sure they're clicking on all cylinders, and I think that's where you kind of want to be right now. And Kentucky's doing that.
Yeah, no, I think they're doing a great job. So again, they have, according to 247, the 8th best portal class so far. They're 4th in the SEC. The only schools ahead of them in the SEC right now are LSU, who's number 1 overall, Texas, who's number 2 overall, and Ole Miss, who's number 3 overall. Like those are the only schools that right now are beating them in terms of what they're bringing into the program from the transfer portal. So again, we haven't seen them do anything on a football field, but just when you're looking at it on paper and what Will Stein's doing, and also the fact that maybe basketball's not where you want it to be. Like if you're a Kentucky fan and you're looking for like, the cliff to jump off, don't, because
right.
you've got
to be patient.
It looks like it's going to be better.
Does Kendrick Law have another year, or is he finished? Eligibility nowadays. Who knows?
I'm going to assume that he has, let's see, I think he was a junior this year.
I think he might have one more.
I think he has one more. Because I think he's one of those guys that he have a, well, I don't know how many games he played in his freshman year, but I think he has one more year.
Okay.
Let's see. He had 53 catches for 540 and 3 touchdowns this year.
Man. Well, I mean, you got to think he had Cutter Boley as his quarterback, so. And there's a chance that he was probably going to have. Well, he did have Zach Calzada for a period of time too.
Yeah, he
so
did.
it was different time.
No, there's only so much you can do. There's
right.
Also reasons that
just get the ball in his hands.
You are at Kentucky in the first place. But that'll wrap up what we're talking about with the transfer portal for right now, because we do have a lot going on this weekend, whether it's NFL playoffs. Some great SEC basketball matchups for Alabama and Auburn as well. So we'll tell you what you can look forward to this weekend, what we're going to be keeping an eye on, and all the big happenings around the sports world. That's all coming up here on Morning JOX. Welcome back into Morning Jocks here on your Friday. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you as we try to get you set for the weekend, a busy weekend of college hoops and NFL playoff action. And then, of course, on Monday, we will have the national championship game between Indiana and Miami. So very much so looking forward to that one as well. We'd also love for you to join in the conversation, 205-834-9450. That'll get you on the courtesy GMC text line. And see, this is what I love about our listeners. See, this text came in while we were in a break there, and it just says, you were just talking about Kentucky being good on paper. Well, Alabama was supposedly good on paper too, but all their five-star linemen couldn't block and couldn't rush the passer.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger anybody this morning, but I just...
You went to the college football playoffs, dog.
Not good enough.
Not good enough.
Not good enough.
Oh my gosh.
But see, that's what makes our listeners great. Is there's always something that you can take that fuels you
exactly
in your fandom. So
Man.
I apologize. I didn't mean to get anybody upset.
No,
morning.
no,
I didn't want to do that.
Right. Talking about Kentucky and Alabama would still make you mad. But that just shows you that what we say down here in the SEC, it just means more.
I was about to say, as we learned yesterday, Birmingham was once again the king of college football this year. So we are still the top dog, the top market when it comes to watching college football. And we you know that if you're listening to the show because you love college football as well. So we're very blessed to be here in this part of the country. But y'all can continue to chime in. I just thought that was funny and wanted to throw that out there. But we'll get some of your more texts coming up here in just a matter of moments. But if you find yourself wondering, what do I do this weekend? Man, there's no college football, the national championship game Monday. That's so far away. I don't have anything to do this weekend. Well, the good news is you do have some things you can do this weekend. So this is your SEC hoop slate for tomorrow, and there's some pretty good games here. Pretty good games. So you're at 11 a.m. You've got Kentucky and Tennessee. They're going to be doing battle there in Knoxville, so that's a pretty nice way to start off your morning. Then at 12 o'clock tomorrow on the SEC Network, Alabama and Oklahoma. That game there in Norman will be taking place, so you can watch.
You going to
it? No.
Are you done with your trips to Norman?
Yes.
It's only football season.
Yeah, but even then, I think I'm done.
Oh, okay.
One time was nice. It was nice, and it was fine.
Didn't know if you traveled with the basketball as well.
No, I'm taking the winter off.
Gotcha.
Taking the winter off there. But you also have a ranked matchup also at 1 o'clock. Florida and Vanderbilt there in Nashville. That should be a really, really good basketball game. So that's what you've got going on there. Then you've got Missouri and LSU. You have another top 20 matchup at 3 o'clock, Arkansas and Georgia there in Athens. You've got the Texas A&M rivalry in basketball.
Let's go.
That's 5 o'clock tomorrow night, so that should be fun. Bucky and Sean Miller, some first-year coaches for those programs going at it. And then also at 5 o'clock, you have the Auburn Tigers, as they will be back in Neville Arena, and they will host the South Carolina Gamecocks, who, again, just saying, if you look at what Auburn did to Arkansas and then what Arkansas just did to South Carolina, Auburn should win by 50 points.
Should.
We'll see if they do. And then you have, I know what Damian's waiting for tomorrow night. You have the Egg Bob, right? Is that what we call it? The Egg Bowl.
That's what we
the Egg
call it.
Bowl of basketball.
Exactly.
At 7:30, as Ole Miss will be heading down to Starkville to take on Mississippi State.
That'll be a good game.
It should be a good game. So it's a really solid slate of college basketball games.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
it's different in the SEC, man. I'm so happy we're in conference play, and
It's the way the schedule works out now because you get a little bit of college basketball with the non-conference stuff, but when football's over, it's like you get right into the good stuff.
exactly. This is what we've been waiting on.
It's great.
And the fact that we're getting there's a lot of ranked teams. There's a lot of good basketball. I think that for Auburn, if you were going to get out of a slump, if you are trying to figure out who you are, good thing you got South Carolina on Saturday. Like it's a good thing that you could.
You'll take that one.
The biggest thing is just don't look sloppy. Don't make this game closer than it should be. You are the better basketball team, and if you're going to work out some kinks, Saturday is a perfect time to get that ironed out.
Well, we'll see if Keyshawn Hall and Tahad Pettiford can have a better shooting performance than they did the other night, and I would think, I mean, honestly, as as bad as Auburn played in certain ways against Missouri the other night, if they play the way they did against Missouri against South Carolina, they're going to win. So, just being honest, in my opinion. So, it should be a good weekend though for both Alabama and Auburn, as they are the two better teams in their matchups. So they should certainly be able to take care of business. But again, that's why the game is played on the hardwood and not on a piece of paper. So that's what's going on in SEC hoops. And then quickly, your NFL slate for the weekend. You've got 4, in my opinion, fantastic football games. So you got 2 tomorrow, 2 on Sunday. On Saturday, you've got Bills Broncos. That's 3:30 kick on CBS.
That's gonna be a good one.
They're in Denver. Yeah, that's going to be a really good one. And then we'll get this one for the 3rd time this season. It'll be 49ers and Seahawks in Seattle.
And have you seen the stuff about Sam Darnold? That he's having a little oblique issue even after they had the first round bye? You know who his backup is, don't you, Conrad? You know who the backup quarterback is for the Seattle Seahawks, don't you?
Yeah, it's actually Drew Lock. It's not. I know who their 3rd string quarterback is as well.
You're telling me you think there might not be a little package out there, especially if Sam can't go?
Unless, and maybe I missed something, but the last time that I looked, he had run 1 play this season.
Hey.
Do you know what the result of that play was, Damien?
I don't.
It was a fumble.
Oh, boy.
So I don't think we'll be seeing too much Jalen Milroe on tomorrow night. They're in Seattle.
You never know,
but
man.
He could get a ring.
Yeah, exactly.
He could get a ring.
Imagine you're a rookie coming from from Alabama. You're at the Seattle Seahawks, and your rookie year, you're in the playoffs. All you need is a chance, man. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. But Drew Lock better stay 100%.
Yeah.
And Sam Darnold better be able to go. Because if not,
it would be Jalen Milroe time.
Let's go.
Yeah, I think that we don't need to see that this weekend. That'll ruin everybody's Saturday. Then on Sunday, you have 2 more games. You have Texans and Patriots at 2 o'clock on ESPN, ABC. I feel like Patriots probably gonna take care of business.
South had
in
a
that
good
one.
run.
Yeah, but hey, defense has been really good for D'Amico. What CJ Stroud and the offense gonna have to be better.
And let me tell you something about the Houston Texans defense.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy that starts for them that I never would have thought would be in this position. It's Henry To'o.
Yeah.
The whole time, even when he was at Tennessee, when he was at Alabama, I never once came away that, you know what, he may mess around and have a long NFL career.
No, well, tackling wasn't his strength at times in college.
No,
so.
Reading defense.
Great at getting the arms around you, not great at bringing you down.
Right.
He get there, though.
And to see where he is now, I have to give him a lot of credit. Like, to me, I watched him the same way I watched Peyton Thorne at Auburn at quarterback. Like, I was just like, you can't tell me this is the best linebacker you got. But, man, he messed around here and got into the NFL, making his bread. And it was on a great defense. And he's always around the football. So, listen, Henry To'o, I apologize. I was unfamiliar with your game.
Yeah, he's turned into he had almost 100 tackles this year. He
is out there.
He's a good player.
He really is.
Like,
man.
he's
never would have thought.
He's turned into a very, very solid player there for Houston. So, I'm right there with you, though. I
didn't see this one coming.
Wouldn't have bet on that one in a million years there. And then the final game of your NFL slate this weekend, Rams and Bears. 5:30 on NBC. That's your Sunday night game in Chicago. That place is going to be
insane,
rocking. And that was my favorite game from the first weekend. Just watching the Bears come back the way they did in the fourth quarter and knowing what it meant to that fan base and that city. That's going to be a fantastic game. So really can't wait. I know there's no college football, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot of other great stuff going on that we can enjoy as well.
I want this Matthew Stafford run to end.
I know you do.
But to the hands of Caleb Williams. Like, it's
mm-hmm.
You just couldn't get 2 different styles, 2 different just auras of quarterback. And again, like, I've never once said that Matthew Stafford wasn't talented. I just said, when we look at quarterbacks and what we judge them by, the man had a late push. He had a late push in his career.
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden, he's one of the best to have ever done it. No, winning still helps. But listen, the game-winning drive he had against Carolina, he was surgical. Like, it was. Like, I have got to give him credit for that. Like, he didn't look rushed. He didn't look flustered. And it's like, oh, this offense was still trying to figure itself out in the second half, and then in one drive, it's like, oh, okay, now I see why you've been playing for 14 years. And he may mess around here and win MVP. So like, if y'all want to put him in the Hall of Fame, congratulations.
Yeah, he's gonna get in there, Damien.
I
I'm
know it.
sorry.
I
I
know
hate
it.
that. I hate
I
to
know it.
break it to you, but yeah, he's gonna be in there. So it it is what it is. But if it's cold and you want to watch sports, you're probably gonna be in your house this weekend. So let me quickly tell you about Train because flu season's here, and you can make your home healthier with Train's Clean Effects Home Air Cleaner. It removes up to 99.9% of airborne particles, including those causing virus. And it's also 100 times more effective than standard air filters and 8 times more effective than HEPA room filters. So go online, find a dealer near you today at train.com. But a lot of your text rolling in here, your thoughts on what we're talking about with this weekend, SEC hoops, NFL playoffs, as well as the transfer portal. That is where we will go next, right here on Morning Jocks. Oh, appreciate you making us a part of your Friday morning here on Morning Jocks. Conrad and Damien with you for a few more moments before we hand you off to McElroy and Kubelik in the morning, as they will get you set for your weekend as well. They're with you 7 to 10, then 3-man front from 10 to 2, and then, of course, Paul Feinbaum with you from 2 to 6, getting you ready for your weekend. If you missed it, today is the final day to put your name into the transfer portal for college football. So we will be keeping a close eye on that, see if there's any big names that put themselves in the portal at the last minute. And, of course, we're keeping on what's coming out of the portal as well, with Auburn having a nice day yesterday with some big pickups in the trenches, and Alabama hoping to do the same this weekend, having a number of visitors coming into Tuscaloosa. But let's go to the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450, as we put a bow on the week. And our buddy Bobby, big LSU fan, he chimes in and says, so how long are we going to give it until Damien follows Kiffin and some of these players to the Bayou and becomes a LSU fan?
Nope. Not going to do it.
Not happening?
Nope.
You're locked in with the Rebels.
Hotty toddy, baby. Pete Golden era. Lane didn't win us a playoff game.
That's right. He
Come on,
got you there, though.
Hotty toddy, man.
Okay. Eric from Sneed chimes in. He's going early prediction, and we'll do a final score Monday for the national championship, but he sends his in early. He says Indiana will beat Miami 42-10.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy.
I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but also based on what they've done the last two times out there, it's not the craziest thing that I've ever heard. This one says, I really wish Bryce Young was Houston's quarterback. Well, they got C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson instead of Bryce Young. That was what that is the path that they took a couple of years ago. Don from Ohio says, thanks for the shout out to the Big Blue Wildcat fan living in the Buckeye State. I listen to you guys every single morning. The stronger Kentucky is, the better the SEC is. Can't wait to see what Will Stein can do. Well, thank you, Don. I appreciate you chiming in there from Ohio.
Absolutely. We appreciate it.
Absolutely,
but the stronger Kentucky is, the better the SEC is.
Strength in numbers, Damien.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's what
Can't forget the great Will Levis.
Let's see. This one says, the idiocy of some of the Alabama fan base never ceases to amaze me. That's all it says. Nothing like, that's just it. That's all it says.
Hey, I mean,
I don't know what particular that's regarding.
Probably we were talking about the offensive lineman, and like we were talking about Kentucky, and then somebody complained about the offensive lineman in Alabama.
You're probably right. You're probably right. And then Don says, I can't say enough about how hard Alex Golish and the new staff is working. 27 new additions in the portal. Now they're starting working on, Damien, you won't believe it, 2027 recruiting.
Of course.
It's already here.
Of course.
We appreciate all of you joining in on the conversation this morning. We're back with you on Monday at 6 a.m. to preview the national championship. Mac and Cube is next.